I licked it for luck.
Oh,
If I had a nickel.
Fool me once. Shame on me. Speaking of people being fools.
Oh, hey, we're recording.
So, welcome to the Average Adventuring Party podcast, where the party swears that when they die, someone or something is going to seriously get haunted.
Oh yeah.
Several things.
Yep.
We're gonna bother death
For the rest of
eternity.
How ironic.
Yeah, you wanted us. Now you got us.
And we're not going anywhere.
Hey, what's that? Go shoot.
Can you pants somebody in a room? Oh, wait, there's nothing under there.
No, we just need to fuck with his tea.
It's a whole Marilyn Monroe kind of thing.
I don't think he even drinks the tea, does he?
I'm gonna have
he
to.
drank it.
I'm gonna have to go on Hero Forge and see if I can Marilyn Monroe the robe of that death figure I made.
Can I have your thingy?
Go on. Yeah, so we'll probably end up cutting all that. But what happened last time, you guys?
We killed a bunch of Kemet's aspects.
Yes, you certainly planted your foot in Kimmett's aspects.
No, that's my foot. Nay. I gored that.
You drop kicked at least one of them.
Yes,
He fisted Kemet right in the aspect.
I electrocuted most.
Stab to stab.
I made them fear for their lives.
So yeah, let's see. Kemet broke out. Random actually got the official okay to help you guys.
Yay!
Right before the volcano started erupting.
Boo.
Kemet started breathing fire and kobolds alternatively on things.
Boo.
Killed Proud Scream.
Yeah, he ate Proud Scream.
I don't think Proud Scream's still in there, like Cloud chopping his way out.
Rest in peace, Prostrate.
Yeah, we're going to have to change the Team Proud Scream shirt to have a tombstone on it somewhere.
Rest in Proud Scream.
Rest in Proud Scream.
With just dual axes.
You can do both.
Let's see. You guys had taken off after Kemet, who offered you the chance to...
Growl his feet.
Yeah, be his henchman or die.
Iocus gladly accepted, right? Yeah.
At which point he gave you some of his minor aspects to fight while he took off over the caldera to breathe down all kinds of hell on it.
Yay, fiery death.
And that's where we left off, was you guys having dropped the last of his draconic aspects, looking up and seeing him start to ignite his...
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Might want to roll some recovery dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are just acting like you got the crap kicked out of you. Those were his minor aspects. They weren't even his true form.
Don't care.
Ooh, that is good.
19 plus.
Click, clacks, and mumbles.
We could have done this off the air, but it's nowhere near as fun.
Yeah, the dice actually behave when we play without recording. So, these guys needed to get it done on the air, so the dice screwed them here too.
Let's see. Man, that's a kicker. I use one recovery, and I get up to 3 points below my maximum. But I only have 3 recoveries left, so
Yep, me too.
I'm going to have to live at not being at max HP, as much as that bothers me on the inside.
Womp womp.
Oh, so did it bother you when I didn't use my recovery to get up to full?
No,
Okay.
that's your own thing.
But you do you. It's when he looks at his own character sheet and something's slightly off kilter.
Okay.
Everybody all recovered?
Yep.
Yeah. I had to use 2 to get me back up there, but I was staggered.
I do have to make up something, though. He had asked on the outro if there was anything that we needed to cover, and we missed our battle cry. Well, he didn't die.
Yep.
You guys are going to form a mercenary company at some point. That's going to be the motto. It's like, well...
What do you think we are?
No one's paying us.
That's the problem.
We have the worst business model ever.
Hopefully, after this, if we survive.
You guys find money. You don't get paid.
We got paid for the first couple sessions.
Our payment. Patrolling and bringing back dead body parts.
That we also did.
See, episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Also bacon.
I got extra money for another hand.
Also bacon.
Also bacon.
So,
And then Shannara stole some money from the stove.
well, it's a shame she's dead, so
No, she's not dead.
she will be soon.
Along with the Geo.
As will we all.
I was gonna say,
So-
based on Ardith's side glance there.
So speaking of things being dead soon, Kemet is continuing his
Rampage.
gigantic fireball, at which point we'll say Galdrien feels his hand rest on his shoulder, and he looks over. Ardith is standing there in full battle regalia, and he's got a spear in his hand, and he just points up to Kemet and says, "That's his weak point. Get me there." And what he's pointing at is a pair of axes sticking out of his chest. At which point Kemet just throws his wings wide and thousands of kobolds and dragons start dropping off of him. So we're going to go right into a skill challenge, since I know you guys love those.
Right.
You can see where I placed my initiative notepad in the meantime.
Do I need to get you another one?
No, this one's only like, I don't know, quarter of the way.
Nice.
I rolled. Just so you know, I didn't send it there.
We don't do a lot of combat here.
Oh my god. I'll go last.
It's a skill challenge. It doesn't really.
That's true.
It just determines the order we go.
Yep, so Iocus, what you got?
29.
Yeah, I figured about 30. Suna.
9.
Oof. Galdrien.
21.
And Ardith.
25.
Well, Jesus, Suna, what are you doing?
I rolled a 2.
That will do it.
I need to just start writing, like, all of these just have Iocus' name at the top of them.
It's just printed there.
I'm going to eventually just include something that doesn't hit for very much, but has, like, a plus 43 to initiative, just to knock him off that high horse.
I'm like, all right, I'm ready to. No. Hey, I didn't go last combat.
By sheer luck.
I rolled low.
Alright, so Iocus, your friend Ardith
Mm-hmm.
appears next to Galdrien and says, "Get me there," pointing at Kemet. The goal of this skill challenge
Uh-huh.
is to do something about Kemet
Okay.
in one way or another.
Like, distract him? Like,
Well,
Take him out on a
Yep.
date.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So if I say take him out, what do you default to?
I am actually gonna go and use my wings. I'm gonna come in, grab Galdrien.
Or
No,
me.
well, he's with you. I'm gonna grab Galdrien, spin him, and do a fastball special to launch him further up into the air.
Sounds like a good strength check.
you're being thrown.
Strength. And for
You know she has the dagger, right?
Yeah, but you have the dead guy.
okay, yeah. Don't worry, I did it once. I can do it again. No, I'm going to say maybe Spike Jack on my background for this because I probably had to throw some people out a time or two. So
You're used to bodily handling people.
yeah. Oh, that was nearly a 1, and it rolled back over. So that would be a 30. Galdrien's like, Iocus, where are you going?
Yeah, so Galdrien, you feel Iocus just grab onto you, spin you around, and then just grabs the both of you, spins you around, and flings you towards Kemet. As you guys are going up, all of these dragons and kobolds are coming down, and most of them are breathing fire all over everything,
Good luck!
including themselves. Ardith, it is your turn.
Okay.
So we'll say by this time your dagger is starting to kind of vibrate a little bit.
I mean, I was going to ask Galdrien what the plan was this time. But,
I'm sorry.
Galdrien and Ardith have already just been launched just straight towards Kemet.
since that's good enough.
Yeet.
Yeah, it's been years. I'm just going to pull out that dagger. Okay, to be clear, are you okay with one of those, the smaller ones, or you want the big one?
The dagger just like lifts your hand towards Kemet.
Will you settle for one of the little ones, just in case?
No.
Okay, I'm making no guarantees here, but I'm gonna try. So, I guess maybe next.
I was gonna suggest, since I was the better flyer, that I would take Ardith while y'all distract. But
I'm literally crying already.
Well, you can just crowd control Suna. And you can probably pick off kobolds that are coming towards us or look like they might breathe fire on us.
If you want to use that dagger, you've got a couple miles to get to.
I guess I'll just start making my way that way until maybe Iocus can fast boss special me up there.
How are you going to start doing that?
You still have wings, right?
Yes, you have wings.
Asshole is still in the lower atmosphere.
Pretty much, yeah. Hey man, work with what you got.
Yeah, what I got is knives.
So, in which method are you going to use knives to go higher?
I threw them down and accelerate myself up.
I have no idea.
Maybe use the kobolds as stepping stools to boost your speed.
Yeah, weave your way through them.
Or use the kobolds with your daggers and just climb.
Yeah, it's just like a waterfall of kobolds.
I don't need wings. I got a ladder.
Okay, so since we're technically not in combat, how often can I use the BAMF?
You can use it narratively as many times as you would like.
Okay, I guess I'd be doing that to like get through some of this shit.
All right, make me a good dexterity check to avoid getting tackled or burned or eaten.
I will stab shit as I go.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do. 15, so...
Sorry, Galdrien.
28?
28.
Okay. I'm going to go right up his command.
Yep, so Ardith just takes off on her wings and leaves you two in the dust, basically. Just rocketing towards Kemet. Dragons and kobolds are getting in her way, and she is using all kinds of her acrobatics to basically, anytime one knocks her out of the way, she just stabs into another dragon, pulls herself up, launches off of it, teleports away, and she makes it a good way towards Kemet.
Are we still doing portal rules for teleport?
What's that?
Speedy thing goes in, speedy thing comes out?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I just want to be clear.
Galdrien, you are flying just headfirst through this throng of dragons.
You have been yoked.
Yes, I've been yoked.
We'll say one of the bigger ones is like seeing where you're going and is trying to race to get in front of you so that you don't have a straight line to Kemet.
Is Ardith hanging on for dear life?
Yeah, Ardith is basically weightless, but he is floating in behind you.
Okay, so my movement is tied to his movement, but
Yes.
I don't need to keep hold on. So I see that one coming towards me, and I'm going to. I still a little devilly start. Actually, I think rather than rely on the magics, I'm going to try to swerve around him using a flashy sword move.
Okay.
So I'm thinking Dex plus background here. That is a 23.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so...
Sorry, 22.
Oh, that fails. No. Galdrien, you see this one coming up, and you angle yourself just slightly so that instead of him meeting you in front of Kemet, you actually come in slightly behind him. You just take your sword, and as you pass by, just slice his wings off. As he starts to fall up, his tail just like thrashes, and you're able to step on it, like swashbuckle onto it, and it just flings you up even faster.
Better start holding my breath.
Yeah, the atmosphere is getting particularly thin.
Good thing I'm in a breath play.
But you are getting close to Kemet. He is. You've been near him, but you haven't been just right up on him, and he is massive. Like each of his scales is bigger than you.
You're huge. That means you have huge guts.
Suna, you see all of this going on, and we'll say you start to get swarmed by kobolds who just pile onto you.
I have an idea, but I'm thinking you're going to tell me it's too far-fetched.
I turn into a tree.
No.
There are no stupid ideas at
That gives me something to bat things
I'm
with.
going to... So, hear me out. In the sky and stuff, there's clouds, right?
Sure.
Okay? Clouds have water,
Sure.
right?
That's the rumor.
Very,
So
very
if
heavy amounts.
If I make him have gills to do water breathing,
No.
would he be able to breathe now?
He is above the clouds.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like, Galdrien is actually getting into the space portion of space.
Stratosphere.
And Ardith is right behind him.
Yeah, there's a small space where, like, up on Mount Everest, somewhere in Peru, where people biologically have bigger lungs and therefore able to breathe easier. That's the closest you're gonna get. And we're at the height where that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Speed boost for the wind.
Oh, that's a good idea. Could I do like, well, I don't know if gust of wind would work. Could I do like a big gust of wind to help push them that way, and it might push a couple kobolds away from me?
Sounds like a good wisdom check.
And having that air might actually help us breathe too.
Oh, yeah, that too. I mean, wisdom. 23.
23. So Suna conjures her, uses a combination of her wings and her ability to call the wind to just blast herself out from under this pile of kobolds. Turns around and then just starts basically making these air pockets by channeling wind upwards. We're going to say that Ardith and Galdrien are now basically so high that they're starting to lose breath. And, things are starting to freeze over, like you both have this thin layer of frost on you. And then this sort of bolstering wind lets you suck in a lungful of air. Iocus, you see Suna basically rocket away from these kobolds, turn around and start blasting this air upwards, and then just get like full-on head rammed by a dragon who starts driving her down towards the caldera.
Well then,
Galdrien and Ardith find their oxygen supply temporarily depleted.
I'm going to plummet into a dive, and I am actually going to try and shear its wing off as I just dive by.
All right.
And snag Suna out from under the...
Sounds like a good dexterity check to coordinate all that.
Yeah. I don't have any experience anything, so I'm not going to say...
Nothing in life has prepared you for this moment?
Well, you know what? Let's say Centaur Packmaster.
Go on.
Because I have to run with a Centaur Pack Warhorde, so I had to coordinate many different parts of an attack that I wasn't familiar with.
I'll give you half.
It's one more than I had.
More than I ever get with my chef.
Well, it's because you don't do chefy things.
All right, Dex.
Just do murder.
That's a 20.
20? Yeah.
All told.
So, Iocus is able to coordinate his drop. Yeah, just so that he spears this dragon. And we'll say probably at the speed that he's going, this dragon has Suna basically mounted on its front bumper as it's flying one way. And Iocus just meets it at a straight 90-degree angle. You are able to just basically Superman punch it in half. Suna goes flying one way, this thing goes flying another, and then you are beset on all sides by kobolds.
Hello, friends.
Galdrien. I'm sorry, Ardith.
Okay. I'm guessing I heard Erithus tell Galdrien that he's aiming for Stream's wounds.
Yes, so you see Galdrien. Basically, the way is clear for him, and as he and Erithus get close, Ardith, the tip of his spear starts lighting up, and he and Galdrien just slam into Kemet, and there's this bright, blinding light, and when the light is gone, Galdrien is being flung that way, and there's just this gaping hole inside Kemet's chest, the size of one scale.
One scale, okay.
Which is bigger than a person, you know.
Yeah.
You got a knife.
Yeah, and a perfectly, you know what, a giant target where to stick it. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you want to vary what skills we're using here. Can I check and make sure that's the best place to shove this dagger?
I mean, there's no other target.
I mean, other options here to the
Like,
next check.
unless you go for the mouth or the eye or
Oh, fuck no.
something like that.
Fuck no. Their teeth and fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Go for the Sean Connery. No, Dragonheart.
Yeah, that's a little lower.
I mean, you can aim anywhere.
I have a Dex character that's all I got.
You can use Dex. It's just that was going to be a future thing, I think.
Yeah, but still, I know he likes to. Even before we did this game, you like to mix them up. But Dex is what I got to work with here.
Yeah, Dex is
No
fine.
physical character. Okay, am I close enough to chunk the knife?
No.
No. Okay.
Like, it's kind of like saying you need to hit a frying pan inside a house and the front door is open. Like, you don't have a target beyond the fact that there is.
Okay, yeah, I gotta get closer first.
Likely you would have to go inside.
If you were wanting to vary up your skills, maybe a con check to make sure that you can breathe it. Oh, nice.
Well, I got a 5 in it. But my mod's on 1.
I mean, you could probably add a background to that.
Well, yeah, but I'm like, what am I using?
You probably had to hold your breath before.
Yeah. Con?
Yeah, let's do con.
Okay.
You're going to space. It's appropriate that.
I'm gonna add a background to that. It's almost 19. And then rot. Okay. 17.
17.
I'm putting the rogue thing on there.
So that is a failure. Basically what happens is Ardith is trying to find an angle for this. She gets close enough that, trying to decide like whether she can chunk the knife in and then just kind of these ropey, sort of sinewy, bloody strings just reach out and snag her and yank her into this gaping chest wound and just sort of fling her into a flaming hot chamber.
Well, this is gonna be fun. Well, the knife's getting in there.
She is surrounded by what look to be, so if you've ever seen a shrapnel wound, like whatever Ardith did to break that scale, shrapneled scale all throughout the inside. So there's just like pools of blood and scales stuck into various meaty bits. And where the blood starts dripping down, it starts forming more kobolds and dragon faces coming up out of the floor trying to bite you. Galdrien, you are, when Ardith strikes that blow, you are just flung so far away from the battle. We'll say one of your wings is kind of like twisted to the point where it doesn't quite work as well. You see Iocus and Suna basically plummeting towards the caldera, fighting dragons. You look up and see Ardith get sucked into Kemet. And basically the entire battlefield starts rallying around you because you're the only person this high up.
Right. Using my medical knowledge, I'd like to try to wrench the wing back into a usable position.
Yeah, sounds like a good intelligence check. Why not?
That is 18 on the die, plus 9 for intelligence is a 20. Wait, how is that a plus 9?
Level?
Yeah, but I'm only level 5. That should be a plus 6. I miswrote. So that is a 24.
24.
You don't even need to apply the background to it, but I guess I may as well. Physician trainee, 28.
Yep. So all of these dragons basically circle around as you're the only valid target in the upper atmosphere. You look back, and basically all the phalanges of the wing are broken or dislocated, and you're going to have to pop them back into place and set them before you are beset on by dragons, which you're able to. But by the time you get it done, there's maybe 100 dragons coming at you. Suna. So, Iocus, you were, until previously, a unwilling rider on the Dragon Express, which I think is going to be the episode title. Something just slammed into it like a meteor, and you see that dragon, half of it go that way, half of it go that way, and then Iocus just continued plummeting down.
Oh, he didn't grab me?
I flung you out of the way.
Yeah, you basically got thrown out of the way.
Okay.
You see Ardith get pulled into Kemet. Galdrien looks like he's in trouble up there somewhere.
So I have a question. If he is up there where there's not much oxygen,
Mm-hmm.
obviously fire needs oxygen,
Mm-hmm.
so he must have something that provides his mouth or whatever with oxygen because of the fire. Since he's still breathing fire, the
The
dragon.
dragon, yes.
Galdrien has started breathing fire.
Kemet, since he is still breathing fire, there has to be some sort of mechanism that is...
No, basically, while he was on the way up, he was sucking in oxygen. And now that he is up there, he has lit the furnace and is about to expel.
But wouldn't it go right out with no oxygen? So otherwise there's a mechanism up there or something.
Well, no, if you remember the kobolds themselves, they had that sack that's basically like napalm, so it's a jelly, it's set on fire already.
Yeah, it is a
okay,
mixture of both mechanical, chemical, and magical.
Okay.
Dragon fire is its own thing.
Yeah.
It's lit, and that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
It is the magical equivalent to thermite. Once it is lit, you don't need to
Okay.
provide oxygen.
Okay. Okay, so I can see Galdrien, or I just know he's up there?
You can see Galdrien, and there is like a whole flight of dragons about to go tear him apart. Meanwhile, Kemet has probably lit the furnace at this point, and is primed to just start blowing fire down on the caldera.
So my best bet is to help Galdrien, I would think, because I'm not able to hurt Kemet. So, I need to help you...
Start blasting dragons.
Oh, I was going to say, is there any way that I can... How far away is he from Kemet?
We'll say like half a mile.
Okay. And the kobolds are coming towards him?
Yes. Well, no, actual dragons.
Or are they coming this way?
Actual dragons are about to swarm him.
Or about this way?
There are kobolds and stuff kind of on their wings gliding down into the caldera.
So that's down there.
Down below you.
But to him, they're coming.
Yes.
To him. Okay. So, I think I'm gonna... Is there a way that I could create like an ice shield
Mm-hmm.
for him to just kind of push the dragons away as he goes? Like beat the, the SWAT teams have those big black shields that they just kind of to move forward. He has a shield of ice to kind of move.
Well, go ahead if that's what you would like to do.
Yeah, like an elemental shield. That
Yeah.
Let's make that roll.
Okay.
That sounds like a good wisdom roll.
16.
16 total.
Wait, can I add a background to that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, my enchanted forest guardian? Because I am sure there's times that I've had to move back an army of elves or whatever that are trying to come through my forest. And I would have created like a shield or something to kind of, or dam type thing.
Sure.
Okay. So what is that, 16? So that'd be 21.
All right. So, Galdrien, you are trying to hurry with this wing. You get it popped back in place, and you look up in time to see a literal army of actual dragons. bearing down on you, at which point this sort of arrowhead-shaped point of ice just appears in front of you and starts forming a wall. And dragons hit it and are either sheared to pieces or deflected to either side of you. Iocus, you are falling at this point.
Diving.
Well, we'll say like you punch through that dragon and you've actually fallen so far, so fast that you caught up with the initial wave of kobolds, and they just dogpile on you. You are getting dangerously close to slamming into the caldera.
Okay.
Just like ground level, which, by the by, now that you guys have had a chance to actually look down, that volcano is in full eruption. So like the middle third of that, so probably from Cardinal all the way down to the lake, is just lava. And that's likely what you're going to slam into.
Okay. Cannonball! Oh, wait, that's probably not what I'm aiming for.
Seared beef.
Yeah, extra crispy. I would actually like to do a wrenching, pop my wings and try and climb back up to the battle to assist up above. I'm going to use a con check for that, maybe, because having to survive the G's and everything.
Sure.
And...
Chef.
I'm going to put slave, because I had to endure a lot of beatings and bodily torture as a slave.
Sounds good.
All right. 12.
Was that not cocked? I thought it was up against the wall of your...
It was. I'll take it. I expected that one to fail. Not much better. 15.
15.
As I said, I expected that one to fail.
All right. We'll say you go to do this sudden stop and break, and when you do, like most of the kobolds that are on you drop off, but when you hit a certain level of descent, both of your wings just rip off.
Okay.
And you are just in complete free fall.
I can deal with it.
Ardith, the first thing I would like you to do is lose a recovery, as the unbearable heat inside this creature's body is, like, literally your clothes start to smolder. You realize that the scale was somewhere under the breastbone, and when you kind of start to dance and dodge away from these creatures that are forming out of the blood of Kemet, you round a chamber, and sitting there beating is just this gigantic heart. And every time it pumps blood, a new creature, a new draconic abomination just forms in between you and it.
Where the fuck is Ardith now?
Ardith is gone. Like, the minute that scale shattered, he disappeared.
Okay, so that was his one and only thing, was to break that thing.
Was to get you a shot.
Okay. Well, since it's right there.
So you're going to have to fight your way through a...
It's another Tuesday.
Yeah. Weird draconic abominations.
Yeah.
And it's food in here.
That's what we've been doing all week.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what we've been doing since we got here. So, yeah. Sure, I guess I'm going through these things to try to dodge as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have to take them out, I will.
Okay.
Because, like I said, the heart is right there. It's a nice, juicy target.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well plunge Eldamian's dagger straight into that.
Yeah.
If it kills Kemet and Eldamian doesn't emerge, yay. If Eldamian emerges, yay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess that's Dex.
To dodge him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say Dex.
I can do that since that's my fighting thing. 24.
24. Alright. So, Ardith, these things it's hard to dodge all of them because they are spontaneously forming out of, like, any little bit of Kemet that...
I hope they like Poison Scimitar.
Yeah. We'll say, at some point, like, one of them probably stabs you in the side and one in the leg, and you just get various cuts and contusions as you are dodge, dip, dive, duck, and dodge through this horde. You find yourself maybe 10 feet from this heart that is, I don't know, it has to be thousands of pounds, and it is just every time it pumps, you can feel it. That dagger in your hands is just like almost controlling what you're doing.
Needs to chill just a little bit if it wants to get in there. Just a little bit.
Now's your chance.
Okay.
You gonna
Yeah.
throw it or stab it?
Whichever's gonna get it there. I mean,
Yeah.
it depends on how close I am. If I'm close enough to stab it, yeah.
Oh yeah. We'll say basically if this was a super cool movie, like Ardith gets all these cuts and stabs and slashes her way through these dragons, finds herself face to face with this heart, and you just see her lift the dagger, and then we cut outside to Kemet, who lets loose this gigantic roar of pain, and he where he was kind of like flapping facing down towards the caldera, he slowly starts to tilt and starts falling just back first with his wings up. And while he's doing that, that fire that he was going to breathe on the caldera just starts blowing up. Galdrien, it is your turn.
Right. So he's starting to fall down towards the caldera.
He is starting to plummet towards the caldera.
I'm going to swoop down, because I know Ardith's inside of there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try to retrieve her.
Okay, so I'll say by the time you swoop down, like that scale is still gone, but it has grown over with like this very thin webbing of sinew that is starting to just like rapidly grow back into place. You will have to find a way in there.
All right. So I can do a swordy thing, or I can do a charisma-y thing. I think I'm going to do the swordy thing and just slash my way right into it.
Mm-hmm.
Scalpel.
Oh yeah. That is a 29.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Galdrien, you swoop in and just don't even stop. You just sword first straight through where that scale is. We'll say you like land on the other side and just slam into the ground and roll and come up to Ardith's feet, who looks a little bit preoccupied but reaches down and just grabs you and yanks you up, and you realize you are surrounded on all sides by weird draconic monsters.
Let's go. Ow, 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 ow.
Suna. You see Kemet begin to fall. He is alive, maybe, but he is just, his neck is wildly going and he is spewing fire everywhere.
And I saw Galdrien go where Ardith did?
Yes.
Okay, how about if I look down, how close to the ground is he?
Iocus is about to slam into the ground full force with a bunch of kobolds.
And what is on the ground?
Lava.
Is it lava, or is there some that the
Magma.
lava has taken?
Like towards Believe and Overlook and like basically the outer edge of the caldera, that is still mostly charred grasslands.
How close is he to that?
I mean, he's basically falling towards the middle.
Towards the middle?
Yeah.
Maybe swoop him up with some breeze and...
Febreze him.
Because I was thinking of some type of tree for like a banana leaf to come for you. But if
That'd
you're
be
not
made
that
out
close
of
to...
Yeah, velocity.
Oh. I
We
guess.
call this the Gwen Stacy effect.
You see the image out of it, right?
Saved him. Snap. Still counts. Caught him.
I guess I can stick with ice. Because I like ice, apparently.
It's been effective against fire.
It's busy ice.
Is there a way that I can kind of get a little ice slide for him to go slide down into the part that's not on fire, that's not lava, that's still kind of grass?
Seems reasonable.
I hope I save you.
I'm not too worried one way or the other. That's probably good.
And there's nothing I can add to it that would.
Every time we've tried these ice slide maneuvers,
I know.
we need to practice this.
So 13.
Okay, that's a failure.
Yep.
That is unfortunately your last failure.
Uh-huh.
So we all die.
Let's talk about what happens. So when last we see Galdrien and Ardith, they are basically back to back, about to be overwhelmed by these draconic monstrosities that are like forming and dying on their own, but also being killed by them, and they're just taking wound after wound. The heart behind them has gone from this like sort of lit from the inside red to just solid black. It is no longer pumping. And then it starts pumping, and it remains black but begins pumping as regularly. But, you know, they're basically back to back with that heart, and there's just monsters on all sides. Iocus is plummeting towards the lava when Suna starts just forming like cloud after cloud for him to slam into, hopefully to slow him down. And we'll say that's probably about the point where you know, all these kobolds just start falling out of the sky. And we'll cut to the sovereignty. Shannara is in her bed, and she kind of wakes up and looks around, and she's got this like panic, anxiety-ridden look on her face, and she can't figure out what's wrong. And then she runs over to the window, looking towards the west. And when she does, there's just this massive explosion, like mushroom cloud into the heavens, and all the glass in her room just shatters. All the glass in the building she's currently in just blows inwards. She gets this look on her face, and her lips start trembling, and just tears start kind of slowly dripping down. And Kiyoshi comes running in. He just basically kicks open the door with his sword drawn, sees that she's okay, and says, "What's the matter? What happened?" And she just like runs to him and starts crying into his chest and says, I should have been there. I was supposed to have helped them. And Kiyoshi says, "Is this where you blame me for taking you away from them? It's my fault that they're dead." She just kind of like starts like pounding her hands into his chest, and he kind of gets this look on his face because she's hitting him and crying and holding on to him, and he has no idea what to do.
Good.
Chiasa walks in and sees this, and she just kind of like mimes hugging Shannara, and Kiyoshi just very awkwardly puts an arm around her and pats her on the back. Chiasa like comes up and hugs her too, and says, "It's terrible. You're right. You should have been there. You shouldn't be here, but you are, and they're not. Their path is gone. It's diverged, and you're set on your own glorious golden path." Shannara says, "What? As a hostage?" Chiasa kind of shrugs and says, "Well, maybe don't think of it like being a hostage. Think of it like being the bond that potentially brings your people together with ours." And Kiyoshi kind of gives this like little snort. "Yeah, maybe if your mother doesn't do something stupid like start a war, maybe if she negotiates with the Emperor." Shannara, she's crying into his chest, and she just starts sobbing, and that sob slowly turns into laughter. And she looks at Kiyoshi and says, "I don't think you truly comprehend how unwise my mother is when it comes to family. Don't worry, though. You've protected me while I've been here, so I'll protect you when the time comes. And she just like reaches up and pats him on the head and then pulls him in for a kiss. Then reaches over and grabs Chiasa and pulls her in for a kiss. And kind of like as the camera pans around them, Death is sitting in the corner and his jaw is dropped. He's got a cup of tea. Well, I didn't see that coming. So we're going to cut.
It's me.
There's we'll cut to this like idyllic green meadow, sort of sitting on a lake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in the distance, so we'll say far to the north, there is this obsidian tower that stretches to the heavens. Sitting under a tree on a pier is this little halfling who is very concentratedly trying to read a book, but keeps getting interrupted by this woman with pale skin and heavy armor who's just pacing a line back and forth in behind her. And that woman in the armor says, "Are you sure this is the spot, Thea? We've kind of been here forever." And the little halfling says, "Yes, I am positive. This is where she said we would be. We would know the sign." The woman in the armor just kind of like, "Well, what's the sign?" "I don't know. Just that we would recognize it when we..." And right about that time, there's this massive explosion to the south that just throws both of them off their feet. All sorts of rocky volcanic debris gets tossed about. This figure that basically a gigantic rock is about to crush this halfling as it comes flying out of the sky, and a giant eyeball opens in the sky in front of her. All these arcane runes just form in a circle around it, and this beam of light burns out of it and just blasts this rock. And while this is happening, all kinds of debris is pelting the area, and then something big just hits and rolls into the water. She says, "I think that's our package," and closes, like, picks herself up, the little halfling does, and closes this book that's bound in gold and bronze dragon scale. That lady in the plate armor basically just phases through the ground into the water and then comes right back up, and she's carrying this figure that's several hundred pounds, way bigger than she is. It has a black duster on and sets it down. Iocus is unconscious. He is singed. He's missing fur.
Understandably.
Thea reaches over and taps the lady with the armor. Just like, "See, the books don't lie." At which point, this pale face like leans over Iocus and says, "What is he?" And coming up from another hill, there's a centaur that has a small gnome on his back. And basically the gnome is blasting little chunks of debris and putting out fires. The centaur comes over and says, "Is this what we're here for?" And when the little halfling says yes, he goes, "Roll him over so I can get a good look at him." And when they roll over Iocus, the centaur kind of looks at him and says, "Father?" So then we're going to cut to the Hycosian desert. If you've ever seen a desert during the daytime, it's just looking out across the sand dunes. It is so shimmery and heated. We'll say there's this figure that is just walking. It's hard to tell. As she slowly comes into focus, she's, we'll say, about 9 feet tall. She has saffron skin, 4 arms, and is very tall and lanky. And on each of her arms, she has a silver and blue bracer. Every now and then she just stops and like holds it up to the sun, and it will glow. And she'll kind of change her direction and follow it. When she reaches like the top of this dune, she holds her bracer up and it just stays glowing, at which point she kind of nods and uses all 4 arms to start digging into the sand. She grabs something under there and just starts pulling, and she just yanks out this. Imagine a caterpillar cocoon, but it is made out of dragon scales, bronze dragon scales. And she kind of looks at it, scratches her head with one arm, and kind of rests her head on another arm, and just takes her hands and just rips it open. Inside is a very shaken-looking Galdrien, at which point she sees his face and kind of splashes some water on him, and then just like takes her thumbs and starts cleaning his face because he is covered in soot and blood and gunk. She just literally grabs him, like 2 arms grabbing his upper arms and 2 arms grabbing his waist, and picks him up and starts spinning him around and goes, Sultan Zada, I'm so glad to have found you. She kisses him like on the face and just like, and like the very showy, affectionate kisses. She has no mouth. She has just basically 2 wide set eyes. And she says, I am glad to have found you. I am wearied from this hunt. Keep in mind, it is not the longest I've ever managed, but not all of them start with falling out of the sky like a meteor, and not all of them end in dragonfire. She kind of takes a canteen of water and just dumps it on Galdrien's head.
Is he conscious?
Yeah, he's kind of dazed. And when he goes to say something, she says, I'm sure you have many questions, Princeling. They will all be answered in time. Let's get you cleaned up, at which point she just pulls like a silk scarf out of her pack and starts wiping you. And says, your Sultan is waiting for you. Come.
It's the Sultan?
Saya will get you cleaned up, but you must follow her. Come. And she just grabs Galdrien's arms and starts pulling him in a direction. And she looks up at the sky and points. And they're just very far off in the distance. There's the city floating. And she says, there. Sayana will take you to Hycosia. You will meet your Sultan, and all will be right with the world. But you must come. And she just starts dragging him through the desert. Meanwhile, we'll say there's these burned stumps of a forest, just for as far as you can see in all directions. The ocean to one way, the sort of like ice-covered plains to the other, and there's just burned, ruined stumps everywhere. There's a pack of sovereignty soldiers who are patrolling. Off in the distance, we'll say there's some more, and there's a thick patch of forest, and there's soldiers who are dragging this siege engine that is just spewing this burning liquid into the forest. One of them stops and like pulls a bit of jerky out of his pocket and just kind of starts looking around, and he gets this real confused look on his face. He reaches over and kind of like, hey, and he points, and one of the other soldiers looks. Goes, is there any reason why they let that one live? And when they turn around, there's this probably 4 or 5 story tall tree that is just growing verdantly. Second one kind of looks at him, says, did I give you change of orders? And he kind of shakes his head. He goes, well, orders are anything standing over a foot tall gets burned down, so. And he kind of reaches into one of his pockets and pulls out this flask of liquid, and he starts shaking it, and when he does, it kind of starts bubbling and hissing. He says, we've got it. It's just a little one. There's nothing strange about that. The group starts heading that way, and right as the soldier's about to like take this vial and throw it on the tree, this vine just shoots out of its branches and wraps around him, and then just like torsions him in half, and then lifts him up into the tree. That vial like flips out of his hands and hits one of the other soldiers, which bursts into flames. And all these vines from the floor just start snaking out of the ground and grabbing people and like pulling them underground and yanking them up into the trees. There's one last soldier who takes a look at all of this and just turns around and starts running. This wooden, as he's running, this wooden tipped harpoon just kind of like bursts out of his chest and then kind of sprouts leaves and twigs so that it hooks, and then just grabs him and yanks him back. And the closer he gets to the tree, the more his body begins to solidify and change into something else. And by the time it stops dragging him, he's just formed this sort of like screaming soldier effigy that starts sprouting leaves and twigs that the other soldiers like drop out of the tree leaf or out of the tree limbs or like pop up out of the ground, and they likewise are changed into these tree creatures. Soon there's this kind of like copse of trees that is starting to grow very, very thickly. And that one grows this gigantic flower out of the top of it. And as the flower opens up, inside is Suna, just covered in pollen. Somewhere off in the background, you see a bunch of those sovereignty troops running back towards this newly formed tree as Suna opens her eyes. Also, meanwhile, there are several spike jacks who are tied up. They're basically in a kneeling position, but they can't fall over because their hands have been bound to their feet, which have been bound to a peg. Their mouths are free, but in front of them are maybe 20 sovereignty soldiers. There is one guy with just a great big sword hefted over his shoulder who's standing in a line, like clearly an executioner. One of these officers has their pistols, and he's working with a mage, and he's forming them into these symbols, and he's basically like breaking their guns, and he fashions it so that it's sitting on a chain, and he wraps that around their neck, and he kind of just like slaps one of the spike jacks and says, "You're a disgrace to elves everywhere." And the spike jack just like spits at his feet and says, "At least we know how to be elves." At which point the officer like boots him in the face. He points at that soldier with the great sword, who kind of like unhefts it from his shoulder and lines up with the first guy and is about to bring it down when he kind of looks up at the sky, and you just hear this loud whistling noise. At which point something hits the dirt, just like crashes, and then slams into one of these sovereignty wagons and sends debris and paper everywhere. That officer like pulls his sword, everyone spins around, and all this paper is starting to settle to the ground. And there's a figure who like unwraps herself from this canvas on the wagon, like throws it down, and all these papers just kind of lazily float to the ground. And there's a set of wanted posters describing Iocus, Suna, Galdrien, and the last one to hit the ground is Ardith. And the officer like looks at Ardith in the ruin of this wagon. Ardith just gives a great big sigh, just pulls her knives. So that's what I've got for you.
Right.
Actually, there's one more thing.
But wait.
There's more. Nettles. Nettles is leading a group of survivors and refugees through the caldera. He's clearly looking for survivors. With him are Wolfswift and Silon.
You made it.
They're both like pretty grievously injured. Pacha is actually missing a chunk of her shell, but she's there. She looks blind. She's kind of like finding her way with a stick. And Nettles and his men, every now and then they'll find one of these kobolds or a dragon that's still breathing, and they'll just take something and just like put it down. They'll stab it or break its neck. And they come across all these chunks of dragon, like Kemet, these gigantic scales that are as big as they are. They get to one, and it's clearly moving, and it's kind of like rhythmically pulsing. Everyone pulls a weapon and arms themselves, and this like chunks of the carcass start to slide apart, and this scaly black draconic head pokes its way out, and it's got curling ram's horns, a very like blunted snoot, and its eyes are looking over the whole situation. Its mouth opens like it's trying to talk, but nothing's coming out for a second. And then the voice says, I just have one question. And Proud Scream just bursts his way out. Where the hell are my axes? And that's where we'll leave it.
That's great.
As he pulls his way out, he is holding a severed black dragon head, which still appears to be alive.
Can't keep a good Damian down.
Can't keep a good Proud Scream down.
So Galdrien's a Sultan's son.
Apparently. He's still processing that. He's like, do I just have one of those faces?
Papa.
Getting kissed on by a faceless
Mouthless.
and mouthless elemental, I would assume.
Or one of the people they based them off of.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that's the end of season 2.
In end of season 1, right?
No, end of season 2. Technically, the character creation and all that was season 1.
Fair enough.
So.
Cool.
That's a satisfying end.
So.
Even learning more, but still satisfying.
I was going to do a separate episode for this, but I think we have enough time that we can do it now. Within reason, what questions do you guys have about this arc?
Maybe I missed it, but why in the world is Shannara kissing Kyoshi?
That sounds like the sort of thing that we're going to find out in...
That's a good question.
Okay, I figured, think of the most outrageous thing she could possibly do, and that would be it.
Oh,
Because I was expecting that.
Why in the world is she kissing him?
Yeah, I would say... going back to the monastery, what was the deal with those guys? Because they were really cagey for people that were trying to stop us from accidentally resurrecting a dragon.
Actually, I think I will do this as a separate thing. Now that I'm thinking about it, because how much time we got. Actually, let's go ahead and call this recording here, and we'll do the wrap up in a separate episode.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everyone for listening this far. I thought we'd get like 3 episodes in and either quit or want to do something else, but I'm still enjoying it. I don't know about these guys.
Yeah.
Hey, we only mostly died this time.
You only mostly died. Yeah, I think we'll cut it there. We'll have a wrap up episode or 2, and then I think we're gonna take a week off here at the headquarters, do some stuff, and then in no time we'll have changed for you, the listener. But
You'll get to hear my dulcet tones take over for Prowlers and Paragons.
yeah, you'll get to hear Mike. He's gonna take a turn out of kicking the crap out of us. So that'll probably start somewhere in June, maybe July. Just depends. We've got some bonus stuff that's going on the feed. Yeah. Other than that, find us at Patreon, patreon.com/Average Adventuring Party. Basically at AAP or Average Adventuring Party, wherever fine anything is interneted. So Apple, Google, Spotify, etc., etc. So find us there. I'll link all that stuff in the show notes. You guys got anything?
Negative.
No. All right. Well, then thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next time.